Okay, well, it's another wonderful one on That's Classic. Today, I'm getting together with a gentleman that I have wanted to talk to for quite some time. So it's kind of fun when it finally comes together. He played well, he's a former child actor, and he played Tooey Brown on Leave It to Beaver. And he was Wally's friend. And he's also known as Tiger, Luke Fafara. So, Luke, pleasure to have you on.
My pleasure.
Oh, good. It's fun to have you. I had a question for you. I did a lot of research on you, and I did see that, at one point you said you couldn't necessarily recall exactly the audition you had for Leave It to Beaver, and and I
Right.
was curious if you have any recollection of that, or just what was the first time that you actually met the cast, actually, got on the set? Would you have any memories of that?
They talk about that there was this huge group of people that went to this thing to try to become Wally and the Beaver, but I don't recall it, and
Mhm.
I should because but my agent in general didn't have me do calls like that.
Hmm.
Usually my stuff was, with the person that was going to be, uh, that I'm going to be working with. I don't really recall it.
Gotcha. Now, I also read that you and your brother Stanley uh, actually auditioned for Wally and Beav. Is that true?
We were considered, and I think, you know, we didn't know it at the time, but we were told later that we were we were going to they were looking at the two of us, and then they were looking at a lot of others as well, but their hesitation with us wasn't anything about doing the role. Their hesitation was the fact that they didn't want to take uh, two children from the same family. One gets sick, the other gets sick, and they have to stall filming. So that was what was told to us. Fortunately, though, we both got roles on it, and the first time that I went on to the set, it was like forever. It was, we were all new, starting together, and I just loved it. I loved the people. I loved the directors. Um, and unlike a lot of other shows where somebody gets upset here or this has or somebody's yelling and this, you know, none of that. None of that. And they were so cautious. And I think a lot of it came from the fact that there's a lot of kids here, you know.
Hmm.
So it's not like doing a you know like I've done comedy, on stage comedies type
Hmm.
of thing, and there's a lot of cussing going on,
Yeah.
but you don't never on the set ever
What
ever.
what was it like offset then? Because as you said, it's a lot of kids. I mean, there was you, there was Frank, and you had
Yeah,
Tony, and obviously Jerry, and all.
yeah.
Did you what did you guys do like offset when you're not the cameras weren't rolling?
We're studying.
Hmm.
The teachers got us all in, and some I tell you, some of the greatest learning I learned was under a teacher, because often there was only maybe four people.
Oh.
She had a class of four people, but you have to have X number of hours of study. You can't toss that away. And the other thing that the older, well, myself and Tony in particular, we would go out when if school was done, and because you're doing classes back and forth, it's your turn to be on the screen, and then okay, you got to go back and come down, and the other one goes out to, so it's kind of all convoluted. And
Hmm.
but when you're not on stage or you're not in in class, Tony and I would go out and throw around a football because right outside of our stage was a grassed in area. So we could go out and throw the ball. Now, this has a further story. We go out and we're throwing the ball. And in the stage next to us is Ricky Nelson and his family shooting their show.
Oh, my Ozzie and Harriet. Yeah.
Ricky Nelson comes out passing the ball with us. Then his older brother comes out and we're passing, and we're just having a great time. And the people, especially the studio, the director, all these people, what is he doing? What is he doing? They're afraid somebody's going to get their nose broken with a football or something.
Oh,
So, but anyway, that's what we did. If we had enough time, we just spend it all out there.
yeah, no, I got you. I had Jerry on, and Jerry had talked about even going fishing at the I guess the lake that was on the studio lot. I was like, wow.
That I didn't know. I know uh, when we shot the episode where the boat builders, where we build a little boat.
Yep.
Nobody can fit into it, but he can fit into it. So Jerry gets into it and then it flips upside down. At that place, that was an outside pond. One of the reasons I love that episode is we were out of the stage. We weren't on, in a box anymore. We're out there on the stage. It's like doing a Western or something,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
By the way, was that tricky from your memory of him going in that boat and actually having to do the tip over?
Well, he didn't actually do the tip over. The tip over was done by a little woman. You can't say midget anymore. So,
No, I
but a very
understand.
small
I understand.
and a really nice lady, and she played him and flipped it over and then flipped it back. But yeah.
Before we go on with the interview, I just wanted to remind you to please subscribe to That's Classic if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell so that you'll know when my next episode is being released. Okay, let's go on with the interview.
What was your relationship like with Tony Dow, by the way, just in general?
Well, I, I really like Tony. I get a little sentimental over this because of his passing and everything. And we had talked, we hadn't seen, a lot of people believe that, anybody that's in the show business knows everybody that's in the show business, and it's only them talking to the show business. That's not the way it is. Everybody, we all grow up, we have families, I'm here, somebody else is there. And it's just like anybody else. You don't see everybody all the time. And so I hadn't seen Tony, and I had talked about getting together if something happens and whatever. I remember going to see them in a stage performance that they did together. And then I went backstage and talked to him and everything. But that was, after a few years. So there wasn't all that kind of stuff. So when they said Tennessee, everybody in Tennessee to do the show, that's why I was so happy. So I called him. I said, "Here's are you going to do it?" Yeah, of course I'm going to do it. And then months later, he's sick, and then he passes away. So it was very, very sad. I was very, I liked him very much. He's a good guy and a good athlete. And I probably saw him more when we would go in there was a group of us that would go to Catalina in the summer and out of high school. And he would always be there because his parents, I think it was his parents, had a place there. So one day I'm walking with one of my buddies, Phil, and we're walking down the thing, and he's down a little bit lower, closer to the water, and there's a volleyball court.
Mm-hmm.
So he yells at us, "It's Tiger, come on down. We need more people. Come on down." So we go down there. Now, my friend Phil is about 5'6", 5'7".
Yeah.
But he's very athletic, and he ran when in school. Anyway, he's got all the things that you get when you're a good runner. Anyway, so we both go down there, and we're playing volleyball, and he hits the ball. It goes over it goes over to the other side, and Tony comes up, and I swear to God, he jumps his height, and he slams the ball down, and it hits my friend. It hits my friend right on the forehead.
Ooh.
And I go, "Oh my God!" And my friend looks at me and says, "Does it say Voight? Does it say Voight?"
I love it.
So anyway,
I love it.
Yeah. Anyway, it's very,
Well,
very
Tony seemed like a really regular guy. I mean, everyone that I talked to, and that was you did that thing in Tennessee in Gallatin. I think that was in 2022. So, boy, you really did see him just shortly before,
Oh yeah.
he went.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. It was really. They did a wonderful thing, and they invited his wife. Everybody's wife would normally come with the actor, or the actress, but she said, I want to go and be there for him.
Mm.
So it was very nice.
And it was very nice.
And it was, in general about shows, in the past, that was the first show I ever went to.
The autograph show. Yeah.
First ever. Because I never wanted to, I never felt right about taking money for an autograph. That was just me.
Mm-hmm.
I never thought, I did the work, I did the job, fantastic. I'm happy with it. That's it. That's all I did. That show made me go because it was the 60th year of, 60th year. And I mean, who goes to something that's 60 years old? You know what I mean?
I do.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. 60 years, and it's still running.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so I went to do it, and Tony and Jerry had told me before, you should be coming to these things because it's not about you making money. It's not about, them handing you stuff. What it's about is them sharing with you exactly what you did. They want to talk to you. The money that they're giving you is thanking you for being there.
That's right.
And then ever since then, I've continued to go.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. I think that's great. I really do. I agree with you. I think that you don't realize quite the moments in time that it meant to the people. And some of the stories I've heard are just crazy, what it meant to them. So I get it.
Well, I had in Tennessee, I had a woman walk up to me, and she had the box that has all of the discs of all of the shows. And she sat it down, and she looked at me and she says, "I just want to tell you, I've watched all these shows many, many times." And I said, "Oh, really?" And she goes, "Yeah. But I've never watched the last episode." And I said, "Why would that be? Why would you not watch the last episode?" And she says, "Because then it would be gone."
Oh my gosh.
I had a guy come up to me. He's probably in his late 30s, really, really built guy. And he walks up to me and says, I need to talk to you. And I go, hold on. What? Okay. And he goes, my wife would be here, except she twisted, rolled her ankle. She can't get here today. She wanted me to say hello to you, and here's why I'm here. When I was young, I had no friends. I was short. I was a little buff, but I was short. I didn't like to speak to people. I got nervous. He says, and I wore ugly glasses.
Hmm.
I said, okay. He says, I watched you. I watched you on TV. You had all these friends,
Hmm.
and you weren't afraid, and you had ugly glasses. And he says, it made me go back to school and become friends with everybody.
Wow.
How can you, when you, I mean, I could go on for an hour about stories
Yeah.
that come up, and Tony could have done that, and so could Jerry, because it just fell with the show was miracle, I think, and that's why it's 60 years old.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. What was your relationship like? Because on the show you're like Wally's friend, I guess, really.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What was your relationship like with Jerry then? Did you spend any time with him?
Not much. Usually the older kids went with the older kids, and the younger kids went with the younger kids.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, my brother was close to him. Yeah.
yeah. Your brother is Stanley, who played Whitey. Yeah,
Stanley, who played Whitey. Yeah.
yeah. They were close though. That's interesting. I didn't. Yeah.
Well, I don't. I think he was probably. I can't. I shouldn't say close. I should say that's the one that he would probably have been with.
I see.
And
Yeah.
and the smaller kids. The
Right.
younger kids. Yeah.
You and I talked for a brief moment, just so anybody that's out there, and we were mentioning Jerry Weil, who
Yes.
I'll be interviewing at some point here, and you were saying that she and Jerry were friends.
Yeah. Well, my brother. She was very. She
Or
was
I'm sorry, yeah, she was
my
close
brother.
with Stanley. I'm sorry, I got that wrong.
Stanley. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. They very much liked one another. Yeah. It was very cool. Very
Oh,
cool.
that's cool. That's cool that she said that. By the way, going back to the glasses. So, like I said, I did a lot of research and I be honest with you, I didn't even think about that. Those were not real glasses, huh? They were just props.
They were they were they were glasses. They had glass in them. It was just they were just clear glass.
So you could see.
Oh, I could. Oh, yeah. No, I could see. Yeah,
I
I
got
could
you.
see.
How did you feel having them on? Like, was what was
You
that
know what? When the first few episodes, I think we overplayed how close I had to get to something. I mean,
like? Yeah.
that. So it kind of, yeah, it was. But I think as it went on, it was a softer kind of thing, and I think it played a little better. But I had no problem with it. I mean, it was kind of dorky, but the character was kind of dorky.
Yeah.
But then as we get older, uh, about 3 years into the episodes, now you've got Crazy Eddie, which everybody knows somebody like him. By the way, we went to high school together.
Yeah, I was going to
And
ask you about that. What a weird coincidence.
Ken Osmond and Buddy Joe Hooker. Buddy Joe Hooker played Chester, and he was in the first couple years.
Oh, wow.
He went on to be one of the. He went on to be the. I will not say owner. the runner of all of people doing stunts.
Wow.
And for the life of me, I've been trying all day to come up with the name, but there was a movie that he did all of the, not all of it, but he did a lot of the stunts. And the actor that was in the movie had been on, maybe this is before your time, but he had been on front of a magazine and, partially naked, and he became a famous actor.
Oh, Burt Reynolds.
Burt Reynolds. Okay, that's the movie. Okay, so it's a Burt Reynolds movie, and he's driving a car, and they're being chased, and there's a road coming up. The road is starting to go up, and below that road, if you go off that road, you're going to go into a gully, a really steep gully. Buddy Joe Hooker was the driver of the car. He took it. He went to the top. It flew the total amount of that he needed and landed on the other side. Never been done. Never been filmed before. And that was one of the reasons I think he just became a superstar with anybody that wanted to, do those crazy things. And he was crazy in high school too. So he was in the class. So three of us of the older kids, three of us were in the same high school at the same time.
Couple of things. One, I think that the film was Smokey and the Bandit, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah, because I've seen that a few times, and I think that's it. And Burt Reynolds, by the way, was on the cover of Playgirl. It was a big deal. Yeah, with that.
That was yeah.
And the fact that you all went to high school, did you know each other at that time, or was it just that you were in high school, or do you remember seeing them at the high school?
No, we all knew one another. You know what? I think it was I think all three of us did this same thing. You'd have to ask. I think he's 80. I think he's 83 now. Anyway, but I think none of us played up who we were. Certainly, I didn't. I was low key. I didn't. I didn't do the acting class because they had a class for people that want to learn about theater and acting and stuff. Yeah. And I did one day. I went in and listened to it, and I just couldn't listen to the teacher talk about it because it wasn't what I believed in. Anyway. Yeah. So I left, and I went to myself and a couple of my buddies went to the choir. We had a choir, and the choir in the high school also did all the stage shows and everything. The acting class rarely did anything, but so that's the only time. Now in that acting class, there were a lot of people that had been that you might recognize. Especially Teri Garr, who I got to know very well. But anyway, so all of these things going on, I still didn't do any. I tried to keep it down. Then when I graduated, and everybody's signing books and stuff, and I had so many people saying, you're so good on the screen. We really enjoy you, blah, 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 blah. And I'm not saying anything, I'm not pushing it. I'm not, and I don't think any of them did. And I don't think the three of us ever got together at one time in school. Everybody was going to.
How interesting.
Yeah.
What about Teri Garr, by the way, since you brought, I always loved Teri Garr, and what was Teri Garr like at that time? In high school, I'm just trying to, because she always played kind of like flighty, kind of, very funny, but always kind of flighty. What was she like? Do you recall?
Oh yeah. Um, she asked me she asked me to be her date on her 16th birthday.
Oh,
So that I know. And, uh, she she was funny. She really was funny, and she had an edge. She could go hot to cold like that. And I think it comes out in a lot of the work that she did. Um, so she says to me one day, she goes, "Well, I think I'm going to go to Las Vegas." And I said, "Why?" And she says, "Well, I'm trying to find somebody to handle me here, and I haven't found anybody good." And so I'm telling her some stuff about some of the people, uh, and she goes, "Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. I think I'll be there, because I'm tall enough. I can be a dancer, and maybe." I said, "Don't do that. That just don't go there. You don't,
mhm.
find work it out here." Her mother, her mother had been a uh, wardrobe. She ran wardrobe for one of the major studios,
Wow.
and her father, who had since passed away, her father was in um, uh, a lot of very early stuff on stage.
Oh,
So, so she had a background. She had a little bit of a background. So what does she do? She goes to Las Vegas. She goes to Las Vegas, and somebody catches her on the stage, and then contacts somebody else, and the next thing you know, she's got a major role in a movie.
oh my
So I said,
gosh.
so I said, and I'm thinking, well, I'm glad you didn't listen to me.
That's
But she was
very funny.
she was a very nice person. Uh, there were things that we high school stuff that we went to that she had on a regular basis gone to, and um, I got another story about her if you want to hear it.
I want to hear them all.
She, I'm sitting at a wedding. This is why I'm saying the edge and just her mannerism sometimes were just very strong.
Mhm.
So we're sitting at a wedding, and the wedding was for one of the Mouseketeers. It was getting married, and
Oh,
anyway, so she knew the Mouseketeer. I knew the Mouseketeer. I'm there with my wife and my sister and her husband and a little family thing. And she sees me, grabs a chair, sets it right down next to me, turns, puts my hands like this. Let's talk. You know what I mean? She just put, but she was very nice. And towards the end, she was showing up in wheelchairs, and it was very sad.
yeah. No, I know. That one really, really, I really felt that when she passed. That really got to me. Yeah, she was in a role.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't a later role. I mean, she did a lot of stuff out there, but she was in a film called After Hours, which is kind of a crazy film with Griffin Dunn. And there's where you see the edge because she's very funny. And then just like that, she flips to like,
That's
almost
it.
nuts. Like,
Yeah.
like she just can do
Yeah.
it. And, but
Yeah.
so natural. So that's pretty cool. That's really cool. By the way, which Musketeer was it?
I'm trying to think. It was the one that, God.
Was it a woman or a
Oh
man?
no, no, it's a woman. She was getting married. It was not Sherry. I can't think of her name right now.
No, that's okay. Well, there was Pam.
I'm sorry.
Pam? Is it
Yeah.
Pam Baird? No. I'm trying to think of
Oh,
somebody.
Pamela Baird was on. Did Leave It to Beaver. Pamela Baird flew out to Tennessee to be together. I hadn't seen her. I hadn't seen her for, I don't know, probably 20 years.
Yeah, yeah.
And I hear that she's coming. I said, really? And I told my wife, I said, you're going to love this woman. She's just the sweetest thing. And we had done, I did a co-starring role with Bette Davis on a movie towards the end of her career. And Pamela Baird was one of the other kids in it. There were three kids, and she was one.
Wow.
And so we did that early, and then we did Leave It to Beaver on Leave It to Beaver, and then that, anyway.
Well, what was it like seeing her?
Huh?
What was it like seeing her again?
I wish my wife should be in here telling the story. We're waiting. We're at the airport. We've landed, and we're waiting for a truck to come pick us up and take us to wherever we're supposed to go. And we had talked about meeting at the airport, and we'll go together. And then we get a call that the truck was above us and it's coming down and whatever. And when the bus pulls up in front of us, she slides open the door and she's yelling, "Tiger, tiger, tiger!" And my wife is like, "What?" and she was with her daughter, who was a beautiful daughter, and then we rode to the hotel together, and all through the hotel we're talking about this and that and whatever, and, because we had a lot of history together.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
What, by the way, that's how my show goes. We kind of just go with the flow, but you can't mention Bette Davis and think I'm not going to ask you about Bette Davis. What do you recall of Bette Davis? What was she like at the time that you caught her? And by the way, was that called Stranded or something like that?
Yes. Yeah. Stranded.
Okay. Yeah.
Stranded. Yeah. Actually, it still plays.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty good. It's a true story. And on the set, I met the woman who the story was about.
Oh.
And so it was very special. I tell people, I said, you know what? Certain people in your life, especially if they're famous for something, there's usually a feeling when you're around them. And I think with actors and actresses, especially with actresses, that you're in a special place. Mm-hmm. And the older they are, the more love is around you. Now, I know Bette Davis could have been tough, but she certainly wasn't when us kids were there. And she was just very, very special. And it's one of those times when I started in the business, I asked my mom if I could have an autograph book, and she said, "Why?" And I said, I want to have people sign my autograph book. If I work with them, I want to have, and I started doing it when I was like, this high, and I kept on doing it. And today I have what my wife calls a museum with all this pictures and it was all done. Actually, my sister told me, I had made a move to another new house, or a house I was tearing down and redoing. And my sister said, "Where's all your movie stuff?" And I said, "It's in the garage. It's in the other garage." She says, "Why?" She says, "I need it." I said, "For what?" She says, I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna put all that stuff together for you." And she was an interior designer.
Wow.
I said, What do you mean?" She says, "The pictures, all the stuff. I have a vision of what it should look, and it will, and you're going to love it. I said, you're going to take pictures of me that I haven't seen for, many years, and you're going to put them on the wall. And I'm going to have a house full of my own pictures? I don't think so. And she goes, no, listen to me. This isn't about you. This is about an era. And you're taking an era from the early 50s, maybe even end of the 40s. And you're going to take it all the way with you to wherever it stops. And people will love that. Maybe right now they don't really care that much because that show is still playing, and that's it. But when you look back at the history of all of this, it's going to be important. And she did, and I did, and so now I have a museum.
I love it. You kidding me? Love to see your museum. I love that kind of stuff. That's fantastic. My gosh. What
Yeah.
So Betty, just going back to Bette Davis for a second, was she did she have that like kind of, she had a really interesting voice. It was kind of a little bit gruffer kind of voice that she had.
Yeah.
Do you recall that?
Yes. Yeah. And I think that was always kind of she could be sweet in a moment. When she was acting, she did a lot of roles. She's sweet one moment, she's terrible the next. Nasty.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just thought, I really thought there's two times that I went through something like this when I thought I was really with special people, and that one was her, and the other one was with Jack Lemmon. And between the two of them, they're like the greatest ever. I mean, not that, I did a lot of shows with a lot of great actors, but those two just bounce out for me.
Okay. Obviously, we're going to talk about Jack Lemmon. I mean, I met him one time, by the way, at LAX with Walter Matthau. They were both on my plane, and I got
Oh, wow. Yeah, you got the two for.
Yeah, I got them both, and they were very different people, by the way. But both nice. I had a great time. But and I was much younger, and so they took to me a lot more, and it was great. But Jack Lemmon, for you, what do you recall of working with him? Because I do know that he had a strong effect on you. What do you recall?
The show I was doing was a Reader's Digest. Reader's Digest for 2 years did studio stuff and did their own plays based on true stories. And I don't know why they only lasted 2 years, because they did some great stuff. Anyway, so I was cast in this, and it was a story. Jack Lemmon had gotten out of the service, and they couldn't find what he was supposed to turn in when he left, and it was a boat.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this was a precursor to a movie that was made later about somebody couldn't find the ship that they had when they were in the service or something. Anyway, so I'm like, I don't know, maybe 16, 17, and I come into the shot, and I'm standing over him, and he's sitting, and I've got on a Navy uniform, but I'm not old enough to be in the Navy, but I'm in like a high school Navy thing, before you learn to go in. So, and I chew him out. I just chew him out. And here's the difference with him. Actors that work around children or work with animals,
Mm-hmm.
especially dogs or cats, they in a lot of times they don't really like that, because the dogs or the children or whatever they just get more. Yeah, they're more in the shot than they are, or something. You know what I mean?
Steal the scene. Yeah.
They steal the scene. That's where I was going. Okay. So, in this case, we run some stuff, and we're getting ready, and there's no countdown yet, and he says to me, he says, you know what? He says that what you just did, he says, fantastic. It's going to be so good. If you can take it up this much more, it'll be that much better. And I said, I'm going to take it. I'm going to listen to him. Yeah. So, and there's another person in the shot, which is a female officer, and she's in there, and I can't remember her name, but I know she went on to do Star Trek and stuff like that. So anyway, so the three of us are in this scene. I chew out his ass, and then I walk out. I slam the door, and he's looking at the cameras. I'm gonna kill that kid. I'm gonna kill that kid. So, but here's the funny part about this is that just before we started shooting, he was mumbling to himself. There's three of us there, but he was mumbling to himself. And I'm listening, and I can't make out what it is. And then we finish the shot, and everything's done, and we're all gone. And 20 years later,
wow,
I'm watching the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson.
Yeah.
He's being interviewed. And Johnny Carson says, I understand that when you're doing your acting thing, just before the cameras roll, you say something. And he says, yeah, I do. I mumble something. And he goes, well, what do you mumble? And he goes, magic time.
Huh.
Magic time.
Interesting.
So those two, between the two of them, I mean, they were very special. And so I'm taking a long time with you, I can't. Am I running over? It's like I'm looking for a clock.
Luke,
anyway,
cares? Who cares? I got no clock. I don't care. I'm loving it.
You wind me up on these stories. I talk all night. Anyway, where was I? So I'm. Where'd I go? Let's see. We're talking about him. Oh, so I used to live in Laguna Beach, and I always went to the Laguna Playhouse. I don't know if you've been, but
it's very, very famous. Yeah,
it's very special, very special. So I see in the news, I see that his son is going to do a one-man show.
Chris,
about,
right?
Yeah, Chris. Yeah, I think
Chris
it's Chris.
Lemmon.
Yeah, Lemmon. And so I said, we got to go to see this. We got to go see it. So we go, and great show. He put it's a one-man show. He's playing piano. He's doing this. He's talking about his father. It's just so good. So I had a friend there that worked there that did seating and stuff and whatever. And when I came in, I told him about the show I did with him, and he says, "Oh, okay, well, that's very interesting." So then we go and we sit down, and we got great seats, and before the show starts, he comes back over to our seats and he goes, "When it's done, just sit here. I'm gonna come and get you," because he wants to talk to you. So then I go back and he's got maybe 8 or 10 people in backstage,
Yeah.
and people that he went to high school with, and people that And then I told him, he started to tell my story that I told to him. He says, "Why am I telling the story? You tell the story." So then I told that story to everybody, and he was very gracious, very nice. It was very nice.
This was Chris?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Very nice. It's cool that you could, I bet that meant a lot to him actually with his father. Yeah.
I hope so. I hope so, because it's very special. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure. Well, let's go back to Leave It to Beaver. I wanted to ask about Frank Bank.
Yes.
What was he like? I mean, I mean, Lumpy. I'm sorry, that character will always sit in my head. That and Eddie, it's just that with names like that. I mean, yours too with Tooey. But
Yeah.
what was Frank like?
Frank was he's a very nice guy. Uh, uh, let's see, how do I put this? Um, he he was very well. He did a lot of trading. He did like bonds and all this stuff. That was his job as a job outside.
Oh, wow.
And so he was very much numbers guy, and you know he was that I guess that's what it was, maybe, that was very, very different. If you read, I'm told that if you read his book, it sounds like he knew every woman in the world, but
Yes,
I don't
I've
know.
heard that too. I've heard that too. Yes.
But I don't want to go there. But anyway, so yeah, and uh, Eddie Haskell. I think Eddie Haskell was a great character because everybody has known an Eddie Haskell,
Oh, no doubt.
and Ken Osmond was absolutely great in it. And like I said, we weren't close. We didn't do stuff outside the shows, but he was a nice guy. I mean, I've heard some incredible stories about him in the police department, and some of the
Yes.
stuff that went on, and the fact that he had to grow a beard because he pull a car over and they'd say, "Oh, it's Eddie Haskell."
Right, right,
So he
right.
grew a beard. So um, I did, but and I thought his son was very good too, as well. When they came around with the later shows,
Wow.
which go ahead.
No, no, you go ahead, please. What you thought, what?
The later show, one of the shows that I truly love, and it's probably a lot based on the fact that everybody got together again. But when Yesterday's Gone, which was the reunion show, the
Hmm.
high school reunion show, I loved that show. I loved it. Have you seen it?
Yeah, I have, and it's funny that you would say that because honestly, it feels very real for an episode of a show. It's kind of funny. You're watching it, but you also feel like you're really watching, you know, um, a coming together of people that really are happy to be together again. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think it does. It does, and the silliness that went on. I give you an example. Do you remember at the end, when everything is now all right and stuff, and Tony and his wife are dancing on the
Hmm.
floor,
Yes.
and I come down off the stage and I'm yelling at them about this or that or whatever. So when it was kind of a tough thing, because I come down off of a stage, they're on the floor, and they want it to be to be at the right angles and stuff. So anyway, so we practiced a few times, And when we were practicing, every time he would dance with her and turn with her, when she was looking at me, she'd stick out her tongue.
She stuck her tongue out at you?
So, yeah, I swear to God. So we go through, we do like, I don't know, we do 3 or 4 practices and she's doing that. And I said, well, okay. And I'm supposed to be mad. I'm mad at what they're doing. And nobody else is seeing this tongue, just the tongue coming out of it. So anyway, so then when we go to do the regular shot, and damn it, she doesn't do the same thing again. And I'm anyway, it was just a very, for me, that was a very special show.
Yeah, that's Still Leave It to Beaver, I think is the if I got that right. I can't, or still the, oh my God.
Yesterday's Gone is the name of that one.
Yeah, Yesterday's Gone.
That's the reunion one. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Did what was that like for you, by the way, to come back together and be working with, Tony and Jerry and everybody again after so many years? What was that like for you the first time you kind of walked on that set and saw everybody?
It was like yesterday. It was like I was just there yesterday.
Really?
No, yeah. It was just how you doing, what's going on, that's how the group was. The group was very tight. Yeah, I think part of it was the basis of the whole story with Leave It to Beaver is family, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I've always thought that the show wasn't about kids. The show was about what a family does with kids.
Yeah.
How it's as much a show for adults as it is for the kids. And I think the two leads, the mother and father, really set the stage for everything.
Hugh Beaumont and Barbara Biillingsley.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they really devoted their lives to that show. I mean, in some ways it was rough for him because he played bad guys. He did a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Like the 40s or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. And then coming off that show, you can't, I'll tell you how on her tombstone,
mm-hmm.
she has her name in the show at the bottom. So I think that if that doesn't connect you to your show,
Wow.
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Yeah.
Oh boy, that is a big deal. What do you recall as a kid? What they were like at that time, and what was it like? Being around Hugh and Barbara. What were they like on the set?
Well, she was just very special. See, for me, for Tony and for Jerry, they're there every day, right?
Sure.
I'm there maybe a month ago I came in, and then 6 weeks ago I come back, so I'm always in and out. So whenever I show up, there's a sit around. We all sit around and read through the scripts. I mean, everybody's had the scripts for weeks, but
mm-hmm.
we read through the scripts and just see how it flows and all this. And when I was done with mine, when we were all done, she would come over to me and she'd say, let me tell you what's going on here. This was happening and this happened and this happened, this happened. She was like the mother to all of us. And anyway, she was very special.
Oh my gosh, that is special. That's
Yeah.
I didn't realize that she did that. What, a lot of these shows, I have a background as an actor as well, and I never had the success of that level, but sitting around doing like the table reading is very kind of a
Yeah.
standard kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
What was the situation when you were there doing the table reading? I've heard from some actors, like I've had Mike Farrell on from MASH, and they would sit around and they would actually be able to interject or whatever. What was the setting here like with, like, let's say Norman Tokar was directing or whatever? Was it just like read through and move on, or could you say, hey, could he say this? That kind of thing.
Yeah. You know what? I think I think everything was written so perfectly that we didn't do much of that. I only remember uh, Ken Osmond stopping. He's got this line, and it's like, really, excuse me, really harsh.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, I don't think Eddie would say it like that.
Mm.
And then everybody said, well, what do you think? He says, I think it should be softer, maybe something like this. And they said, okay. And so they changed it.
I
So,
love that.
because you got the writers there, you got the
Yeah.
producers there, you got the director there, you got, everybody that's in it is there. So, I don't, I think that was very wise of him. If he felt that way about it, he's playing the character, then let him go with it. So, but that's the only time I saw anything like that.
That's great, though. I mean, just that alone shows you that they were open at
Yeah,
least to hearing,
yeah, yeah,
What
for sure.
now let's talk a little bit about your brother, and obviously not a tough situation there. I mean, I feel for you with your brother, even though I know it's been many years, but with Stanley, were you close during the shooting of it, when you were filming or not?
No, it's is really odd because I don't think we were ever on the set together.
How interesting.
Uh, Now that can be from, you're shooting a story about the older kids, you're shooting a story about the younger kids,
Of
so
course.
that would make sense. Um, but we didn't. I, I I don't know. I don't believe that we. I mean, if we did a show together, I would remember.
Sure.
And and I I don't. And I think maybe they, going back to what we were saying in the first place, maybe they didn't want the two together. I do get a lot of people saying, I knew you were related. I knew you were related. They find out that we were the
Hmm.
same,
Hmm.
same family. I knew you guys looked alike, but that's about as far as it goes. Anyway, so no, I would never. I don't think I did any stuff. I know he enjoyed it. I know he liked doing it. Um, I don't know. He didn't do much stage work, and that's it. Here's the thing. I've got a lot of grandchildren, and
Hmm.
anyone that says, oh, I want to do something like you did, I would like to do that. I said, well, then, get involved with your high school.
Hmm.
If they have a class, whatever, do that.
Yeah.
The first thing you should do is you should do some stage. If you can do stage, you can do anything.
Hmm.
You don't. There's no reruns. There's no, takeovers. There's none of this. It's you and a couple other people, and that's it. And if you can do that and pull it off, and you get applause from the audience, you're in.
Yeah.
And and that's what I had. I mean, I did stuff like that all the time, and I loved it. And there was a time there was a time in LA, especially in the West LA area, they had, within walking distance, they had two little theaters, and some of the biggest stars it came out of those little two theaters.
Wow.
And I worked both of them, and I just loved it.
What part of town was that in? Because obviously I'm in LA. Where was that? Like in like West Hollywood area or Hollywood?
Yeah,
Right
it
in that
was.
area?
It was West Hollywood. It was
Mhm.
like if you came up from La Cienega
Yep.
and go up to La Cienega, and then you got the Santa Ana, whatever area, whatever, and then it goes across like this, and yeah, that's where it was.
I know roughly
And
right where you're talking about.
I've got some. I got yeah, yeah. I it was a wonderful. It was just wonderful. I uh, I did a play. I did a play. God, I can't think of her name now. Uh, Very famous actress, probably played in uh, every show, every movie that that the comedy team was in.
Margaret Dumont? Are we talking about no?
No, no. Anyway,
Which comedy team was it? I might be able to help you.
it was the singer and the why
Jerry Lewis and Dean Martin?
Yeah, Dean Martin, Jerry Lewis. Every movie they did, she had some part in it.
Ah, I
And
should know that because I was a big fan.
she was either no, my wife just yelled Doris Day. No, no, it's who is it? Anyway, she played all of she was either a nurse, or she was
Yeah.
the cleaning lady, or she was this or that or whatever. And she not only was on stage there, she was also one of the directors of the stage.
Oh my gosh.
So and so she it was interviewing me on a thing, and she says, "You're exactly what I want." And so we did it, and we shot it, we played it. I don't know. We went for weeks and weeks, and it was my 13th birthday.
My gosh.
It was my 13th birthday, and she was in cohorts with my mom and dad, and she brought out this little puppy, and she gave it to me on stage after all the bows and everything, and she gave it to me, and it was a little baby Lhasa Apso, and it just, and I can't think of her name now.
You know what? I'll help you out. My subscribers, they do this on every single episode because I'm not kidding you. I swear, Luke, every single person I interview has this moment. And we sit there, we try to figure it, and we can't.
I know.
And it comes up in the comments. Somebody will say, "Hey, Luke, you were talking about this person."
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So no worries. I actually don't mind those moments because it always opens it up. So one of my subscribers will get that. So, hey, I had a question for you. Your sister, you mentioned her earlier, sounds like she was a huge influence on you getting into the business.
Absolutely.
What is that story? I was very intrigued by that.
My sister was a wonderful dancer and a beautiful woman. She was people people would see her, and say, "Oh my God, it looks like Elizabeth Taylor."
Wow.
And yeah, she was beautiful, but she loved the athletic side of dancing, and she could do anything. She could do the flips. She could do the standard dancing. When I was a kid wanting to learn how to dance with a lady, she made me. We'd go out and practice, and she made me look beautiful.
Wow.
Like what a dancer he is, and she's doing all the work.
Yeah.
But anyway, so she was in a contest. She was maybe 12, 13, something like that. She's in a contest, and it's in a theater, and there's a full audience, and she's doing her stuff. And rather than sit in the audience, we come backstage. My mom's got me by the hand, and we're backstage. We're in the wings, actually, so we can see the stage and a little bit of the people out there. And she gets done, and the applause begins. And so do I. And I leave my mom's hand, and I run out and take a bow with my sister.
Wow.
So and my sister plays right along, takes my hand, and we're bowing together. So there's an agent in the audience.
Oh, come on.
And I swear to God. And the agent in the audience comes backstage to the owner of the place and says, "That is the best gig you ever did. That is the funniest thing. You ought to keep on doing that forever." And the guy looks up and says, "I didn't do anything. The kid ran on the stage." So,
wow.
Wow.
And that's how you got your start?
That's that agent came backstage, talked to my mother. I'm standing there listening to all of this. And this was in San Francisco, because I was born in San Francisco. And she says, "Yeah, I'd like to, I think I've got places where he could be very, very good. There's a radio show right now that's looking for someone at that age." And I'm like 3 or 4 years old.
Unreal.
And next thing I had to do is I have an agent, and he says, "But Lucas isn't going to make it. The name isn't going to make it. We got to, and even Luke is not, we got to come up with some name, because he's a little guy, he's, active. We'll call him Tiger." That's how I got Tiger.
Oh my gosh.
I know. So if you ask, did my sister have any importance? Yeah, she was very important.
By the way, when I had done the research on it, there was also mention of her with Abbott and Costello. Is that true? Did she work with them?
She traveled with them. She had a great story about because a lot of the comedy teams, they're out there and they have breaks or whatever, and then the dancers come on and do stuff and then go off, and then they come back, and it was done during, I'm pretty sure it's not done now, but so she did travel. She told me, she goes, so we're getting ready to get on the plane, and I'm walking, I'm getting on the plane, and then they're always late, and they're behind the two of them. And he goes, the short one, he goes out of his way to go and step in this like bowl thing that's near the doors where you walk out of the airport, and he gets his foot in this thing. And so he's walking like this out to the plane. And my sister is on the steps looking at him and just going, "Oh my God."
I love it. That's Luke Costello. Yeah.
Costello. Yeah. Funny.
Wow. Did she did she ever say anything else about them? Just what they were like, anything like that in general?
No, she liked them very much. I think it wore on her a little bit. I mean, she danced and practiced, and when she passed away, she had a room which, still with the glass or the mirror and the rail to she, by that age, she was just working out doing it.
Wow. That's
She
cool.
was very healthy. Yeah.
Oh man, that is something. So you had, we talk about, Leave It to Beaver, and we actually said a lot of good stuff. I really enjoyed it. But you were in a lot of stuff. I mean, everybody thinks Leave It to Beaver. Well, before I even go to that, why did you leave? Because did you leave the show or did they let you go? It was like 1960 or something like that.
There was no you're out of here, and there was no, anything like that. It was I I tried to figure it out. I asked the guy, they said, did you ever hear anything about why the character was, because what I was really looking forward to was the future series, because if you I don't know if people realize this much, but there was a growth of all the characters, right?
Hmm.
Literally, there was a growth of all the characters, and and Tony was always the one. Uh, there was a thing that they gave out in Tennessee, little rubber bands. It was initials for what would he do?
Hmm.
What would his character do? and and what he usually did is he tried to think everything out, and then Beaver might try to help him or whatever.
Hmm.
But in a lot of the third series that we did, it was him and I
Hmm.
talking. Maybe it was
Hmm.
talking about girls. Maybe it was talking about him, having the guts to ask a girl out, or
Hmm.
all teenage stuff. But it was a come together of those two characters, and I thought that would be they would build on that.
Hmm.
But if you look at what happened, uh, there's keep in mind that the first two adult kids, aside uh, from Wally, was myself and Buddy Joe Hooker, who played Chester.
Hmm.
Okay, those are the two originals. Then in came two more. Okay, Eddie and the other one. So there's four. Then they started a lot more kids, little kids, come in, and I think maybe that's what happened. I think the budget. I think their budget was going like this,
Yeah.
and they made a cut. You know, and the reason I know I was cared about is I was always invited to the other shows after Leave It to Beaver. So you know, and that's one of the reasons why I love the Yesterday's Gone, because it like pulled everybody back together.
You got closure. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. That's so interesting. So literally, it's like it isn't that they call your agent or they call you and say, "Hey, listen, we're not going to be bringing you back." Just everything just
just
goes
yeah.
silent and you never get anything.
Yeah, well, see, the thing too is if they're going to have to let somebody go, you're going to let somebody go that's not contracted. Now, one of the things that they always did with me is if they knew I was going to be in something, they would let me know months ahead that it's coming up, so that I don't take some other gig. And
Hmm.
that was the good thing about what happened, was I continued on to do other stuff. I did a lot of plays later on.
Yeah.
uh, but I'm sure Ken was contracted. I'm not sure about Lumpy, but I know Ken was contracted. So you can't toss the contracted one. So you can let somebody else go. But I've never had hard feelings with anybody
Oh
there,
no.
and it's
Yeah.
it's just business. So
Yeah, it is a business. Okay, so you were in so many things. One thing that I was curious about, there was the Shirley Temple Storybook. And so I think of Shirley Temple, just in general. Was she even there, or was that
oh
at the
yeah,
time?
she's her picture's on my wall. Her signature is on my wall.
Well, do
Yeah.
you do you recall anything from that? What she was like, or meeting her, or anything like that?
No, she did. She was very nice. She was very sweet. It was her own show.
Yeah.
And she had on the episode I did was one of the scary guys of the 50s and 60s. Always played the guy that would torture people or
Like
whatever.
Jack Palance or Richard Widmark or
Uh, yeah, no, it's another moment. Anyway,
yeah.
but it took place in the episode that I did was um, it was like old England
Hmm.
stuff, and yeah, so yeah, it was interesting. They would always do like it was like little plays and stuff.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah.
That's cool. There was another thing that I noticed a tie-in here, and it I thought it was interesting. You were in Casey Jones, which had Alan Hale Jr., but then you have All Mine to Give, which Alan Hale Jr. is in as well. And I think they're right around the same time, the same year actually. Do you recall that?
I didn't realize that actually. You know, you're talking about who again now? You said
Alan Hale Jr. You remember
Alan
Alan
Hale.
Hale? Yeah.
Yeah,
He was both in Casey Jones and
right.
in All Mine to Give, and they were both like 1957. I mean, there were a lot of people in that All Mine to Give. It was like Ellen Corby, John Provost was in there as a young, like he was young then. But do you have any recollection of those? I mean, that's quite a ways back, but
Well,
yeah.
I have a lot of recognition of that film because of you left one out, the girl that
Oh, Glynis
was
Johns,
there's another one,
Ellen Corby.
young girl,
Oh, oh,
young girl. She was one of the youngest women up for an Academy Award when she murdered a guy.
oh my gosh, oh my
You
gosh! I
know who
can't
I'm
believe
talking
it.
about.
Now, yeah, I do, and now I'm doing it. I'm doing it
See,
with.
you're catching it. It's not, you know, there's a, anyway, yeah.
So, what was that like? What was it like shooting? Obviously, a very well-known film.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I was at the dinner table and this young woman comes in and she's basically getting rid of the children. And yeah, and that's the girl that I can't think of her
Now
name.
we'll get it. Like I said, it allows my subscribers to go, I got you. So I'm
Well,
good.
let me
But tell me the story. Anyway, yeah.
no, it's about the family. It's a very sad story, actually.
Mhm.
The family is breaking up. They have to, the the original title was The Day They Gave Babies Away.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe
That
they
was
had that as the title.
that was the original title. Now, see,
Oof.
I remember that. How in the world? You're like, geez. Anyway, so um, so then All of Mine to Give is basically what it is, and they make the rounds and it tells their story. And I haven't seen it for so many years now. I'm not sure. I remember what my scene looked like though.
Yeah, no, I got you. I got you. You were in a lot of different ones though too. I saw Father Knows Best, which I've had Billy Gray on a few times. I've gotten to know Billy pretty well. And I do you have any recollection of being on that set?
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
I
what was
do.
that like?
I do only because okay. Well, there are so many shows that had a similar a similar basic desire to do.
Hmm.
Most of the shows, like Leave It to Beaver, like the one you just mentioned, um, and a variety of other ones, they all had a similar thing. You want to teach, you want to, get laughs, you want to do all these things. But all of those other shows has a star in it. The father or the mother is the star of that show.
Mm-hmm.
And they're a
Correct.
star before they start that show.
You're right
You
about
don't
that.
have that with Leave It to Beaver. You don't have it with Leave It to Beaver. It's not, did they all do work and stuff? And did they all, the mother and father, they do a lot of shows? Yes, but they weren't superstars. And
Mm-hmm.
all these other ones had a star. So I remember that. It was a very small part.
Mm-hmm.
I come in and the older son, I come in and deliver something. I don't know. It was, I think I had 1 day shot or something.
Yeah, 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 yeah. The
But it
other one,
wasn't,
by the
it didn't have any of the, it was just that one was just kind of a job for me.
I understand, and I get it. I get it that sometimes it is just a job. The other one you're probably thinking of too is the Donna Reed show, because you've got Donna Reed as the main star, and you've got Robert Young as the main star, Father Knows Best. So that, and Make Room for
Yeah.
Daddy, which is another one you did. You've got Danny Thomas. It's always, yeah.
Danny Thomas, just Danny Thomas is the guy walks on water. I swear to God, he is the
Huh.
sweetest. He was the sweetest, nicest guy ever. And we were shooting in front of a live audience, and
Oh my gosh, it's right.
it was wonderful. It was wonderful. I love a live audience. It's nothing better than finding out how the show went at the end of the show. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Yeah.
You do something on TV, you do a movie, a year later you'll find out how good it was or wasn't. But you get instant, instant get up and go when you have an audience that applauds and
That
loves what you do.
gratification. Yeah, it's right there.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. I did a lot of westerns too. When I was in junior high school, uh, when I went into junior high school, I had 7 buddies. There was 7 of us. I call them all my life. I've called them the 7 of the 7th because we all met in the 7th grade. We all went on. The only time we ever broke up was when they went to college, and then we all got back. We played golf. We play cards. It used to be golf, but we play cards together a couple of times a year. And
That's
it's just,
cool.
now some of them have passed now, so it's not as big a group,
Yep.
but it's just it's fantastic. And they were real supporters of me because I when they were shooting westerns, my hair was long.
Mm-hmm.
When they were when they were shooting things that weren't westerns, my hair was short. So during the summer, when I got a lot of western stuff during the summers, my hair was long, and I'm going to school, and there's why long hair? Look at this. So I was always teased about my hair. I'm never telling anybody why, but those 7 know.
Yeah, right. They know you.
Yeah, yeah.
What, by the way, Westerns, there was one, oh God, wait, I'll get it. Michael Ansara. It was Law of the Plainsman. Do you even remember that one? He's somebody I always wondered about.
He nicest guy,
Hmm.
nicest guy, and oh my God, here's another one. I'm not going to know the name of. Uh, on that show, I played the brother to a murderer. He killed this woman supposedly loved and killed her, and so the guy's trying to get him or whatever. Anyway, yeah, I loved all the westerns. Were super. My brother did a wagon train. I always loved that show,
Yeah,
and he
classic.
did a wagon train. Yeah, but I loved I loved Lassie. Tommy Rettig was a friend, great guy. Um, he called me when I was graduating from. I was getting ready to graduate from Hollywood, and he calls me. He says, "I got an idea." I said, "Okay." He says, "What if we did a show where we took, you know, uh, well-known people but then, talk to them while we walked through the house and saw the stuff that they have and what would you think that would be good? I said, yeah, it's great. Can you do it? Can we do it? And he says, yeah. And then something happened, and I think in between him being very successful with computers and the call I got somewhere, I think there was some drugs involved, and he got loaded for a while, and then he stopped, and then he was very successful, but it went away. But I think I loved him. I think he was great. Always played down everything.
Hmm.
Uh, let's see, what's the other one I was thinking? Rent and Tin. Rent and Tin was fun too. I did a couple of each of those.
Rin Tin Tin, that's Lee Akers, right?
Lee Akers. I think he had a rough ride at the end because he couldn't find, I don't think he found any work. And that's what I was saying earlier. When I did the 3 years on Leave It to Beaver, I was still able to work. I
Mhm.
didn't have to, I didn't have to look like somebody else now. I just took off the glasses and I worked.
Good point.
Um,
Yeah, about the
other
glasses.
people, other people couldn't, and Jerry went through a real dry time, and so did Tony. And I was so happy for them when the show came back on because it was good. It's very tough. It's tough as a child. If you want to make it a career, you do a lot of work, but you can't do one show forever and then go out and be somebody else. You
Hmm.
just can't.
No, it's really funny. That's definitely as a child, it's even harder. Even as an adult, that's hard. I have talked to so many people, Luke, and that story is just constant. You're it, so to speak. You know what I mean? Like, oh, everybody
Yeah,
knows you. The show ends, and it's like the industry turns its back, and it's like we don't even know you, and they don't even want to cast you,
yeah,
and you're out. And as hard as it is and as an adult, obviously as a child, it's worse. I mean, we were talking about Make Room for Daddy. Of course, you've got Rusty Hammer. I mean,
yeah,
that's basically what happened, I
yeah.
mean,
Absolutely.
unfortunately, that's why he ultimately, committed suicide. I mean, it's terrible. It's really,
Yeah. And do you know what? He said after he committed suicide? What's it? The star of the show. He said, "If he had just called me,
oh, Danny Thomas, if he had just called Danny.
if he had just let me know."
Yeah.
Because I mean, he would have done anything for that kid, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So
That's
that's
tough.
very sad.
That is
It's
sad.
sad. Yeah.
What about my three sons? I've had Barry Livingston on, I've had Stanley on, I've had Tina Cole on. I mean, who's still alive? Let's put it that way. Do you have any recollection of my three sons?
Uh, no, I think that was a pretty small part. I think I
Yeah,
messenger or something.
yeah,
It's probably a day or two. Yeah.
I
I
got you. That's fine.
yeah.
Yeah, all good. You had quite a career though. So what? By the way, you leave your career. What made you go into the army? Because you were in the army for a while, right? Am I right on that?
I was drafted.
You were drafted. Okay.
I had when I was 10 years old, I think I was 10, 12 years old. Um, I won a 1 year scholarship to USC for an onstage performance, and I was competing. They were looking for the most talented kid in Los Angeles,
Wow.
and there were all these great kids up there doing all sorts of stuff and singing and whatever. And I did a pantomime, pandemonia, no,
Oh,
uh,
pantomime?
pantomime. I
Yeah.
did a pantomime that with hats and all this stuff. And
Yeah.
according to my mother, I brought the house down. And I ended up winning this thing and a trophy like this. And so that's what I was going to do. I graduated high school. I was just just turned 17. Like a couple of weeks later, I turned. So I didn't want to go to directly into college. I thought I'd go to a JC, for yeah. So I was going to a JC, and then I dropped a class because I didn't like this class, and I went under the 16 or something.
Yeah, credits. So you're now part-time.
Credits. So and boom, I got drafted, and this is a time when people were running to, Canada to get away from.
Yeah.
But I went in, and not by choice, but because I thought I was told it was right, so I did it, and it ended up being probably two most important probably maybe the second most important thing that happened in my life, because it changed my entire look out for life. I did things that I never in my wildest dreams would I have thought of doing. And it made me realize that, I could be the guy that I have to be in that business. And boy, that was a place I would never open up to anybody about what I'd done in the past. Because you in the military, you do not want to be different.
Yeah.
You're just one of the guys.
I gotcha. You and then
I loved it. I really did. If it wasn't for my love of acting, I would probably I could have made it a career, because I like the discipline. I like, and I saw a lot of people that were, in my opinion, doing things wrong, like a sergeant yelling down to somebody who did something wrong. And I became a sergeant before I got out. I was an E5. And I would look at that and I said, no, in my head, you don't put the guy down. Your job is to make him better.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did. I ran into people that did just that. They look to help people get better, not put them down.
Yeah, I gotcha. And you go on then, and you have quite a career. I mean, and by the way, once again, am I correct? Your sister steps in again and kind of sets you up for your kind of your corporate career. Is that true?
Oh, God. You read a lot. You read a lot. Yeah, she did. It was a place that she worked, and I had met the executive vice president of the place, and I go overseas, and he tells my sister, when your brother comes back, I want him to come in here. I need to talk to him. And that's what I did. And then I got the job. The job was, it was always, my business was always distribution of products. And so I took the job. The owner of the company meets the U.S. leader for Panasonic in the East Coast, and they get together, and then we are now the West Coast distributor for all things Panasonic. So now I'm in the electronics distribution. And then the president of the Panasonic side comes to me and says, the Japanese may buy us out. So I'm just wondering if you would be interested if we started another business. And I said, well, if that happens, if they buy us out, then we will be going to Japan all the time, back and forth, which I didn't want to do. I love Japan. I
Sure.
just don't make it, 6 times a year or something.
No.
So, so we form our own company. The company grows. Um, we went from zero to, I don't know, I forget what it was now, maybe around 20 million. And then it was flying off. It was fantastic. And then my lead partner, the one that wanted me in there, says to me, he goes, well, now all we have to do is we have to be, very cautious. We got to make sure that we make this amount, this amount, and this amount. And he says, it's all about the numbers. And he decides to go out and start buying other companies,
Oh my gosh.
which was a big mistake. And anyway,
Yeah.
so it didn't last forever. And but it was wonderful while it was there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. My last question to you, and I
Yeah.
kind of want to go back to you and your brother because I'm thinking this right now, and I don't mean this in a bad way, by the way. I really want to preface that. But you took one road, your brother ended up on another, and I'm just curious, what do you think it was? Because obviously Stanley had an addiction to drugs, and but it also sounds like an extremely talented guy. I mean, I read that he was a musician, an artist, a lot of things, and you both were talented. I mean, you can all it takes is go watch those Leave It to Beaver episodes. You both had natural talent. What do you think it was that you took the course you did, and unfortunately he took the road that he did? What do you think it in your eyes?
I've heard that. I've read that people saying, that he took the wrong road, and I agree with it 100%. He was incredibly talented. Probably, I never looked at my family as being a talented family. But then as I get older, I look back, I say, okay, so my father sang in his college thing. There were 4 of them. They had a duet and blah, blah, blah. And my sister is dancer and, whatever,
Yeah.
and all this other stuff. And my other sister, she was an artist. She drew, she painted and whatever. And my brother played the drums. Drums were number one for him. He was incredible.
Oh, wow.
But he also played clarinet. He played saxophone. He played,
I think he played clarinet in one of the Leave It to Beavers.
yeah. And he said it was the hardest thing he could do because he wanted to play it, but he couldn't. He was showing how he was trying to play it. He says that's harder than just playing it.
Oh, that's a good point.
So
That's
anyway,
funny.
yeah. So and there's 2 years. I had 2 years where I was not around him at all. Maybe for a week, and then I go back to, wherever I'm going. So all that time, I told him when I left, I said, he was doing pot, and when pot wasn't good. And then Oregon allowed pot, made it okay to use. So he went to Oregon, and that was the beginning of the split with the family, because from there he went to all sorts of things. I've got a neighbor here that was a 20-year veteran of the police department, and he worked out of Kirkland. No, what is it? One of the toughest areas in LA.
Mm-hmm.
And he told me, he says, I said, eventually my brother did the worst drug he could do. And the guys, and he told me, he says, you know what? Here's what happens. If they could use all these other drugs and then they get to the big one and they shoot up on it. And what happens is it is the greatest high they've ever had in their life. And the reason they keep on doing it is because the second, third, fourth, fifth, whatever the other drug is, it's not going to match that one.
Yeah.
And you'll never get as high as the first.
Yeah.
And I think that's what happens. He you know, I know he tried very hard in some areas, but in other areas he just said, I just want to slow things down. I want to slow things down. I said, you know, you're a drummer, you're a musician, you know, drums are tough to slow down. The music you might be able to slow down a little bit. Yeah, it was it just wasn't, you know, it wasn't good. It was a very sad part in our family for sure.
I understand. I read something too, like it wasn't just that he was in the music scene. I read that he actually was with Paul Revere and the Raiders at one point. Like,
He lived with them for a while.
yeah, I mean that was
Now
amazing.
I've got a story. I got a story on this, and I'm not. It comes from a very good source, but I'm not 100% on this. So don't, you know. They had a drummer. I don't know names. They had a drummer in their band, and was quite a user, and at times would get overblown user, and you know, not able to play well. And they had my brother behind the drapes of the set, behind the drapes, playing what the drummer should be playing.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Wow. Well, that
And
shows you how good he was.
and when you think about it, you know, he moved in with them. Maybe all that's true. I don't know.
Oh,
But
I,
it was told to me.
I think that there's a very good chance that's a true story. Yeah, I think I get it. Well,
Yeah.
hey, listen,
Yeah.
yeah, I guess just to finish that off, on your side of the coin, though, what kept you from getting, I guess, you know, it's not just your brother, but, you know, a lot of child actors, unfortunately, and I mean, you know them, and I know some myself, that didn't make it.
Yeah.
You know, what do you think it was that kept you kind of on a, you know, kind of on a straight and narrow course, so to speak? What kept you out of it? What do you think it was?
Um, you know, I never thought of drugs. I I want to uh, I don't want to be out of control.
Hmm.
I guess maybe that's part of it.
Yeah.
Uh, Part of it, I think, is probably the discipline from the military. And I don't know. I've been surrounded by, you remember the 7-7 I told you about?
Yep.
None of them were doing it. None of them were doing it. Um, and I think the other thing is I have had uh, my first wife uh, died after our marriage of like 35 years.
Mm.
And one of the seven uh, told me after she had passed, said, I have somebody you got to meet. I have somebody you got to meet. I said, my wife passed 3 months ago. Leave me alone. I can't, I just don't want, I don't care if I ever get married again. I had a great marriage and I lost her. And he stayed on me for a full year. And then finally he said, look, you come to the house, we're going to go play. We'll play nine holes of golf. We'll come back, we'll go to lunch, and she'll just happen to be at the house with my wife. Okay? So, okay. We did that. I've been married to her now 25 years.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
So the thing is, I think that whenever in my life I was in need, I think there was something there. And my 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 first wife was not very fond of movies and the TV and all that stuff. Anyway, she did love Barbara Biillingsley. I mean, she just thought Barbara walked on water. We'd been to her house for a couple parties, and she just thought she was the sweetest thing ever. Everybody else, she wasn't. So that might be one reason why I didn't move on forward there. But you know, between my two loves, I think I just dropped the other love.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's cool, Luke. That's really cool, and I'm so happy for you. That's neat. And I loved meeting your daughter Robin as well. Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, well, hey, Luke.
That's my wife. Robin is my wife.
Oh wait, that was your wife, Robin, that I met.
Yes.
Oh my
Yes.
gosh. Oh my gosh. Here I'm like thinking to myself.
She's a little younger than me, but not that younger.
No, I didn't mean that. I could have sworn I got introduced like that. Oh my gosh. I'm so glad. Well, that's a compliment to her by all means, believe me. But no, I swear that's how it got introduced. I could have sworn that, but I was meeting so many people that day. Who knows? Anyway, but hey, listen, I wanted to tell you thank you. Yeah.
Here's my daughter.
Okay. Oh my gosh. Too funny. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. It's great to see you. I'm sorry. I totally took that in. That's too funny. Oh my gosh.
That's not the first time it's happened.
Oh my gosh. That's wild.
It used to happen a lot more, but as I've gotten older, it happens a lot less.
Oh, that's classic. Well,
yeah, and they just look at me and say, "That dirty old man."
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I'm sure. No, that's cool though. I mean, seriously, that's such a cool story. I mean, really, the two of you, come on. I mean, that's amazing. I mean, just amazing. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank both of you. Really, I'm glad we were able to put this together. This was just wonderful. I had a blast and so much. I mean, just so many amazing stories. It was really great.
Yeah. Well, it was really nice meeting you at the show, and I'm glad that you guys got to connect. I've been listening off and on this whole time, so.
Oh, cool.
Good.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh,
I've got one thing to ask of you. If you ever start interviewing any people that are looking to do a show, I have a dream show in my head, and I'll share it with you just in case you run across anybody.
Sure.
I want to take the basics of a Leave It to Beaver show, and I want 80% of what the children do to go to the great grandfather that they have. So when the parents are talking to the kids and things aren't going quite right, they just go upstairs to the room that the grandfather lives in because he's got a mansion and the family needs a home. And so they're all together, but they always go to the grandfather to get the real thing, to get the real information.
yeah.
To get exactly what they should do. I think it would be a great story.
That is cool. I'll leave that on here. I mean, who knows? Okay. You just don't know who's listening.
I have a lot of grandkids and I get stuff. So
yeah. Yeah, I agree. Hey, you never know. Yeah. I talk to a lot of different people, and you never know, and people listen, sometimes people, yeah, well, sometimes the people that I am talking to, like yourself, also listen to my show. So, it can kind of come over, can overlap. So who knows?
Okay.
But
All right.
anyhow, listen.
Well, I get it. You're in it too. So we're together.
Exactly. Exactly. Well,
Thank you.
hopefully I'll see you at another show down the road. But really glad we got together. I'm so glad. It was
Yeah.
just super, super fun. So I
You
can't thank
bet.
you enough.
You bet. Yeah. Thank you.
You
Take
got
care.
it.
Hope you enjoyed the interview. Please don't forget to hit the subscription button and also hit the notification bell right after that so that you get notified whenever I have a new episode. And be sure to check out some of my other interviews. Henry Winkler, Jerry Mathers, Angela Cartwright, Shelley Fabre. It goes on and on. They're so great. Enjoy.